Hey, I'm going to do a little what's the science behind conscious connected breath work? This is something that I'm currently training in. So I'm learning a lot. So, conscious connected breath work is often described as a powerful emotional releasing, sometimes even transformational. Many people experience increased clarity, emotional processing, body sensations, and a sense of nervous system shift during or after sessions. But what's actually happening during a conscious connected breath work? Well, understanding the biology doesn't make the practice less meaningful. It probably makes it safer, more intentional, and more effective. So, what is conscious connected breath work, first of all? Well, it's a practice that involves continuous breathing with no intentional pause between the inhale and the exhale, slightly deeper than resting breathing, often with the mouth open, depending on the style or training, so breathing through the mouth, rhythmic guided breathing patterns. And unlike slow regulation breathing, conscious connected breath work is a state shifting practice. It can move the nervous system into activation before settling. This is why it can feel intense and why facilitation, pacing, and safety matter. So, what's happening in the respiratory system? And it's about the CO2 story. It's not just about oxygen. There's a common misunderstanding in breathwork spaces that practices work because they flood the body with oxygen, when in reality, most people already have high oxygen saturation at rest, 98 or 99%. And the bigger physiological shift during conscious connected breath work is usually carbon dioxide change. So CO2 helps regulate blood pH, blood flow to the brain, oxygen release into tissues, the brain's breathing drive. And during faster or deeper conscious breathing or continuous breathing, CO2 can drop. And when this happens, people might experience tingling, lightness, or floating, visual brightness, emotional intensity, and body vibration sensations. And these are signs that physiologically things are shifting, not necessarily more oxygen reaching the tissues. What about the nervous system then? So, why conscious connected breathwork can access emotion and memory? Well, it's often a bottom up signaling from the body to the brain. This can increase interoception, body awareness, reduce overthinking, cognitive control, increase access to emotional memory networks, allow defensive responses to complete. And for some people, this creates emotional release. For others, it creates insight, imagery, body processing, but it only works therapeutically when the nervous system stays within a tolerable activation. Too much intensity equals overwhelm, shutdown, and not processing. So, how does it then affect the autonomic nervous system? So, during a session, you'll see three phases. Phase one, activation, often a mild sympathetic mobilization, so increased heart rate, increased body sensation, emotional surfacing, increased alertness. Phase two, processing, is if it's safely supported by a good facilitator, emotional release, movement impulses, memory access, increased body awareness. And phase three, that settling and integration phase, is often a parasympathetic rebound, so calm, clarity, stillness, fatigue, or deep relaxation. And the therapeutic benefit usually comes from safely moving through these phases and not pushing intensity. So, why do some people feel high, clear, and euphoric afterwards? And that can come from an endorphin release, an adrenaline cycling, a state shift, blood flow changes, or interoceptive body awareness amplification. It doesn't automatically mean healing has happened, but it will create a window where processing becomes possible. For me, introspection is often the overlooked piece. Conscious connected breathwork increases internal body signaling to the brain. For people who are disconnected from body sensation, this can be reconnecting. For people with trauma, panic physiology, dysautonomia, chronic illness, too much internal signal can feel overwhelming. And that's why pacing and consent are essential. So where do the breath holds fit? Well, they're not essential. Breath holds are sometimes added into some traditions, but they're not required for therapeutic conscious connected breathwork. Biologically, breath holds increase CO2 rapidly, activate survival signaling, and increase sympathetic load. For some people, that helps them to feel calm after holds, often actually due to a post-stress rebound. But for vulnerable nervous systems, breath holds might increase panic, they might increase dissociation and increase cardiovascular strain. So for me, you can achieve deep nervous system change through rhythm, safety, and continuous breathing without any holds. So what makes conscious connected breathwork therapeutic and not just intense? Well, it should include, and usually will include, choice and consent, the ability to slow and stop at any time, gradual pacing, orientation and grounding is available, skilled facilitation, clear screening for medical and nervous system risks. And the goal is not intensity. The goal is to access the experience. The trauma-informed part of me, from a trauma and nervous system perspective, the body heals through predictability, rhythm, safety, completion of a defensive response, agency, and choice, and not through forcing physiological stress. The most important thing to know is that conscious connected breathwork is powerful not because it adds oxygen. It's powerful because it changes communication between the brain, the body, and the nervous system. And when practiced safely, it can support emotional processing, nervous system flexibility, body reconnection, stress, release, and regulation capacity. It doesn't require extremes to be effective. I'm going to say that again. It does not require extremes to be effective. Breathwork is not about pushing the body harder. It's about helping the nervous system feel safe through change. The safest and most effective breathwork is not usually the most intense. It is the most responsive facilitation. Stay tuned. I'll come back for who it can help, who needs to be cautious. I will see you again very soon.